wish I could live through something.
Lady Bird says these words in the opening car scene, and for the most part, it's a throwaway line. It makes way for the bigger parts of the scene where Lady Bird talks about her desires to go to the East for college, and of course, when she throws herself out of the moving car. The funny thing about this line is, she is living through something. Lady Bird's senior year takes place in 2002 to 2003, right in the wake of the 9/11 attacks, which Greta Gerwig reminds the audience of every so often in subtle ways. News coverage of attacks in the Middle East play as background noise in pivotal scenes. Kyle mentions civilians in Iraq, and even Lady Bird's mother makes a comment that you can't walk up to the gates anymore. The world around Lady Bird has changed significantly, and she hasn't noticed. Of course she's aware of them, she isn't stupid, but to say that she wishes to live through something during one of the more fearful and politically charged times in modern American history seems ignorant to say the least. This is Lady Bird's biggest character flaw, which is explored in multiple ways throughout the film. She is extremely selfish. She can't do anything without being the center of attention, as Julie points out. In fact, Lady Bird doesn't seem to grasp the idea of the world around her being bigger and a lot scarier than it was in Sacramento until she is staring at a young boy who has just lost his eye, just 2 cots away from her in a New York City hospital. This is the most direct instance in the film in which the attention shifts away from Lady Bird and her story to the world at large. Now I know what you're thinking. Am I trying to say that Lady Bird is a political allegory? Of course it's not. That's a little too pretentious even for me. Lady Bird is a coming-of-age movie about a teenage girl and her complex relationship with her mother, all the while acting as a love letter to Sacramento. I do, however, think this is interesting and maybe a little important to discuss. Nearly every woman has something to latch onto when they watch Lady Bird. It's one of the reasons why the film has reached such universal acclaim. Ask anyone what the most relatable part of the film was to them. Some will say their relationship with their mother, others will say moving away from home for college, some others will say everything, like watching this film was traveling back in time to their senior year of high school, like Greta Gerwig had taken a peek into their teenage minds. For me, it's a combination of these things, but it is also this idea of going through the most pivotal moment of my life while the world around me changes drastically. I turned 18 today, and the world is on fire. Hundreds of thousands of people have died from the virus, and every day people riot in the streets to call attention to the injustices that have affected Black Americans for decades. As my life changes, as I pack up to move to a big city for college in the fall and say goodbye to my small town friends and family, the world changes as well. Does it make me selfish to worry about finding furniture for my dorm or wondering if I'll make new friends? Is it enough for me to simply donate and repost stories and practice social distancing? Have I done my part to facilitate change during this extremely difficult time? I wish I had an answer to these questions, but I don't think I will anytime soon. But going back to Lady Bird, one of my favorite things about the film is its ending. Lady Bird has not magically become a selfless being. She's gained a little awareness and empathy, sure, but there's so much growing to go. The phone call she makes to her parents is only the beginning of Lady Bird's journey to maturity. As soon as she hangs up, she looks around her as if contemplating what to do next, and the final sound the audience hears is her inhale, not the finality of an exhale. The film is over, but her story is not complete. This is where I find not an answer to my previous questions, but at least reassurance. Becoming an adult is not the end, as coming-of-age films will have you believe, but rather a beginning. There's still so much for Lady Bird to learn as she navigates her new life in New York. She will exhale, but then inhale again, in a never-ending cycle of growing and learning and empathizing and adjusting to the world. The thing is, the world will never stop changing, that's just the truth. But neither will Lady Bird, and neither will I.